Hi folks, welcome to your latest mwis planning outlook in association with Ellis Brigham. A bit of a mixture in the patterns over the next few days. We have a general south to southwest of the airflow that will be prevailing. It'll bring some occasional fronts in from the Atlantic with some rain and some low cloud focusing on western hills and mountains. There'll also be some dry and bright days in there and temperatures on balance on the warmer side with a rather humid feel to things at times. A degree of uncertainty in just how the pattern plays out exactly as we run toward the weekend. It's still one of these rather complicated weather situations in play right now. Wednesday we're sort of rather betwixt and between weather patterns. One frontal system has escaped away eastwards towards the Low Countries, and we've got another weather system well out over the Atlantic in between. We've got slack pressure, not a great deal of wind, a fairly weak front that is producing nuisance value, rain, drizzle, low cloud for west and northwest Scotland. That will tend to fade out as time goes on. There may be a few dregs of low cloud and mistiness and bits of drizzle coming onto some western coastal hills elsewhere, but the best of the driest and brightest conditions focused further east across Scotland and across more eastern hills of England and Wales. Into Thursday, and a decent day in prospect for most places. A ridge of high pressure building up from the south, a dry and a bright one. Some early low cloud across the hills will tend to lift and break, and some sunshine should break through. Light winds for many, but a strengthening south-southwesterly across western Scotland will be coming in ahead of fronts over the Atlantic, which threaten to bring some rain before the end of the day to western coastal regions in Scotland, with some low cloud coming on as well. But for a good part of the country throughout the day, it's a dry and a bright one. Bit of uncertainty just what happens to that frontal system out west. It's sort of slowing down as it runs into higher pressure further toward the east of us by Friday. So a slow moving low and front may affect western regions, shown here more across Ireland. I wouldn't rule out that some rain could plague some western parts of Britain through the day on Friday as well. Some low cloud shrouding the hills where rain does exist. Eventually that low looks as though it wants to pull southwards into Biscay and France as we head towards Saturday, but I think for Friday at least it could still be affecting us with some rain for a time. More eastern hills more likely to stay drier and brighter with some sunshine around and cloud breaks to higher tops. The wind flow from the south may be rather blustery around some western coasts, a bit further east generally lighter winds. We'll watch the detail in the forecast by this stage because, again, one of these rather complicated weather patterns that's tricky at a few days out to know exactly where the various frontal systems are going to go to. And it suggested for Saturday that the remnants of Friday's low is pulled away into France. High pressure stays as a block out to the east of us. It's sort of thwarting the progress of Atlantic fronts coming in. So it's just a day really where it's mainly dry. Some low cloud could be around in places, lifting and breaking to give some sunshine coming through, and a reasonably warm feel to things with mostly light winds. So at the moment, Saturday looks an optimistic day for being dry and fairly bright for most places. We do need to watch then as we go into Sunday for the next front coming in from the west. Now high pressure stays to the east of us, and that front may well weaken by the time we get into Sunday. Still though coming into graze west and northwest Scotland with some rain and some low cloud, and maybe a few patches of light rain or drizzle elsewhere around some western coasts, but all will hinge just how strong that southwesterly wind is into western Scotland, at least in terms of the weather pattern for the day. Many places across eastern hills once again could be in for a dry, bright and fairly warm one, but more western regions could be struggling just a bit. So here's the big picture as we go through the weekend and beyond. We've got two zones of quite large high pressure systems, one out over the Atlantic, one over Scandinavia, and weather systems coming in from the North Atlantic just trying to push their way in between, with the jet stream flow just more steering to the northwest of us at this stage. So areas of low pressure and frontal systems will tend to weaken as they run in towards us and break apart somewhat, so not particularly vigorous weather systems at this stage, and on balance over a few days ahead it may be a reasonable story, but the odd poorer day where the southwesterly wind gets in, particularly western Scotland, and pulls in low cloud and rain at times. Further south and east, more likely to see drier and brighter weather more of the time, and this is really the way things go into next week. High pressure staying sort of southwest of us, east of us, and low pressure systems somewhere more over the Atlantic. So occasional weather systems trying to push their way in, sort of running into a block of high pressure and weakening. As I say, may just give the odd poorer day, particularly in more western regions focused on Scotland. But other than that, I should think a reasonable amount of fair weather in the picture into next week, and with a common airflow from the south to southwest, it's going to be a fairly mild, if not warm one, and feeling quite humid at times. So Overall, a fairly optimistic picture, but just be aware of the odd poorer day. You can stay up to date with all your local information, of course, every day on the mwis website. Next video for you on Friday. That's been your Planning Outlook in association with Ellis Brigham. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.